Well, here I am in the dojo again, and it's a Friday night at the beginning of September, and man, got a lot on our plates. Just a quick status update. Based in Northern Ireland here, we are able to train, if we wanted to, we could train full contact without masks, and that would be fine, it'd be legal. We just wouldn't be able to do Super Sariai Tai Tari, the body crash, and we couldn't really dwell in Super Sariai for very long, the hilt god, if you don't know what that is. Anyway, all that being said, I've turned up tonight for training, and it's just me. There's no one else here. I got a call from at the last minute from one of the other guys. It was meant to be at least one other person here, and his wife hadn't gotten home in time to take the kids. So I mean, what are you going to do? You know, if you've got kids, you've got to look after them. So the guy had to cancel at the last minute. So here I am. The story for me is. My wife is due to give birth to our second child in the next, anywhere sort of 2 to 3 weeks, and things have been really tough. Things have been tough at work for myself, and extraordinarily tough actually. Things have been tough at home. There's been challenges with the pregnancy, nothing serious, but just challenges and some difficulties and things like that. And because we're getting so close to the end, she's taking quite a lot of physical strain, and I'm having to take a lot of time off Kendo just to be available to her, to help out around the house and those sorts of things. And we have a 3-year-old son already, and he's a handful. Anyone who's got toddlers will tell you that, you know, they're strong, and they're kind of learning to assert their will, you know, so they say no an awful lot at that age, and they give you a run for your money. And you know, when you're 8-9 months pregnant, you can't really be getting beat up by a 3-year-old, even if they are just a 3-year-old. Okay, so yeah, so for me, I haven't had much time available. So for me, it's worth it to come down here even for the solo practice. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here down for a bit of solo practice, probably do some saburi, some footwork practice, because it's really the biggest benefit of coming to the dojo is having the space to use my feet. So I'll do a bit of that. And also I practice Iaido, so I'll probably split my session into 2 halves. I'll do first half, I'll do Kendo, and second half I'll do Ei. Thankfully, Ei is something, as we all know, it's well adapted to practicing solo. So anyway, I wanted to make this video, just catch up with everyone. It's been a while since I posted, and just wanted to lay the groundwork there. I'll be off the map for a while. Once the child is born, which is towards the sort of second half of September, if we get that far. I won't be making any YouTube videos, I don't think, for a little while, at least not Kendo related ones, not unless it's something really quick and easy I can do. I can't think of anything like that I could do, but who knows, maybe something will come up. But just so you know, haven't quit the channel. If I go off the reservation for a while, it's because we've had a baby and we need to look after it. The main topic for tonight's video really was this sort of situation. You know, if you've got a young club, our club is, I want to say 12 years old. It might be a little older than that now, but I think it's 12 years old, 12 years since it was founded. But we're the only club in Northern Ireland. Now, Northern Ireland's not a massive place. That means the nearest dojo from us is Dublin, so that would be in the Republic of Ireland, so it's a separate country, but same landmass. It's only a 2-hour drive, you know, so it's not that far. But because we're the only dojo in Northern Ireland, and because it's club within the UK under the UK administration and the British Kendo Association. Whereas the clubs in the Republic of Ireland are under the Irish Kendo Federation. We have a very good relationship and all that, there's no issues there. But we can't, for example, we can't enter their like sort of national taikai events, things like that. There's some legalities around that mean that we can't do that. So we can participate in like kind of local level Shiai, things that aren't ranked and things like that. That's fine, but nothing at above a certain level. So there's not that many opportunities to go down there. And what we really need up here is more clubs, really, just to deepen the pool. We have about, I want to say 5, maybe 6 core members here who are pretty regular. And this is where I get to the sort of topic of the video, really, the nuts and bolts of the video is, the going can get tough really easily for a Kendo dojo, at least, certainly I would say outside of Japan, and definitely outside the big city centers in European countries or territories similar to that. And I'm sure for countries further afield it's even harder, but basically we're in quite a delicate position. And a couple of years ago you wouldn't have thought we would be in a delicate position because we maybe had sort of 10 regular people training and then a few comers and goers around that. But numbers were sort of a little bit on the decline just pre-COVID. And then COVID hit and it gave people every excuse in the world to find something else to do at the time because, well, they weren't allowed to go anywhere. And so people did. People found good ways to make use of their time, and that's fair enough. But then Kendo became kind of out of sight, out of mind. Some people did the online saburi and stuff like that, but for a lot of people that wasn't necessarily the route they took. I suppose it depends on how seriously you take your Kendo, and how much maybe you think you would gain depending on your level by doing something like an online session. If you're a coach or a teacher, that's different because I suppose you feel responsible for your club and for Kendo in your area, and so you do your best to chip in and keep it alive and that sort of thing. Well, the result for our club was we had the first set of lockdowns. We came back and we probably came back to around 5 or 6 people training regularly. We had the second set of lockdowns, and when we came back we were down to about 3 people. Myself, there's another chap who's Yondan that I've mentioned in my other videos, and Shodan, a young guy who's got his Shodan, who's kind of moving towards Nidan. He's closer to Nidan now than probably Shodan at this point. And they're regular, and then that would be for our weeknights, which used to be our core nights, and then Saturday we have a couple of kids who come down, whereas we used to have maybe 5 or 6 juniors. We're now down to maybe 2, and the adults that would previously have made the weekday sessions, things have changed in their life, like professionally. People's jobs have changed and the hours that they need to work and things like that. For example, one of our Nidans is she does lab work, and she's obviously done a lot of work for directly, to do with COVID and the response to that, and lab testing, things like that. And they've obviously had to pull night shifts and things like that. And so that's taken the weekdays sessions. We usually do a Monday and a Friday, 2-hour session on Monday night, 2-hour session on Friday night, and then another 2-hour session on a Saturday. And then usually we would have an hour of Iaido and Jodo that would run after the Kendo session. And this person has lost the weekday sessions completely. And then there's another person who's Sandan, and he was also really regular. And these guys are all, by the way, they're level 1 certified coaches as well, so it sort of gives the club a bit of flexibility to be able to, if one coach can't make it, there's always another 2 coaches that can run a session. So when you think about like child protection and things like that, you need to have a minimum of 2 adults to run a training session. You know, having that flexibility was great. We don't have that anymore. So one of the other guys, like myself, he got a new job, and you know, there's a whole bedding in process to do with that, and his kind of family are going through, you know, for example, like moving house would be a big kind of commitment on your time, take a lot of resource to manage that whole transition. You know, things like that are going on in people's lives, big changes. So yeah, this is how we arrive at the situation where I'm here on my lonesome. And that's the point I wanted to get to, was, you know, practicing something like Budo is really, really, really hard. I heard it said by a 6-dan, a Renshi 6-dan, that the hardest thing about Kendo is coming back and continuing Kendo. And I think that's a really, really true and accurate statement. You know, when I started originally, back in the early 2000s, I started with 3 friends, and I'm the only person still practicing of those 3 friends. Of the people who were in my home club back in South Africa, I know of 2 or 3, I think it's 3 total, 3 in total, of the people I knew when I trained there. And that was quite a busy dojo. Like, it was easy to get 20 people practicing a night in there, you know, on a good night. And I would say, yeah, 3 of the people I knew are still there, and some of them are surprising. There's one of them that became the president of the South African Kendo Federation. I think it's a federation. He doesn't surprise me. You know, he's one of those people where you're like, that's a martial artist, he'll be here. He won't quit for anything. So he's still there, no surprise. But there's 1 or 2 people there where I was like, oh, I'm pleasantly surprised to see that person chose to stick with it. And then there's obviously a few faces where I'm like, I'm a little surprised that I've never heard anything further about them. They were obviously dropped out at some point. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to continue. It's tough to continue in the face of this as well. So if you're like one of the dedicated people who always turns up, you know, when you can, obviously everyone's got their challenges at home, at work, in life. You're not always going to be able to turn up. There will be breaks in your Kendo, but if you're one of those people who generally, like, if the time is there, you're there, then it's tough. It just is. But I think that's part of the journey. You know, this is something that, it's maybe something that you might miss out on. Well, I'm not saying it should be this extreme where it's just one of you, but it's something you might miss out on. Say, for example, if you did something that was, you trained in something that was a bit more popular. Let's say it was boxing. You maybe could make that same argument for BJJ, certainly for karate and judo, I think. Karate is massively popular, boxing's popular, judo's popular, with judo being an Olympic sport, and karate just being probably the most well-known traditional martial art around the world and most widely practiced. The chances of you walking into a club where it's just 2 of you, and that could be sustained for several weeks or something like that, you know, just 2 or 3 of you, and then maybe turn up one night and it's just 1 of you. The chances of that are pretty low in those martial arts. But something like Kendo or Iaido or I don't know about the likes of Aikido. I've never practiced it, and I'm not really. I think Aikido it's more popular than Kendo, put it that way, around the world. I'm pretty sure of that. But you know, some of these martial arts where you have a fraction of the worldwide pool compared to some of the more popular martial arts or sports. Part of the growing process, I think, is running into this and still continuing. And it's really tough to do, and you really have to dig deep. But if you can find it in yourself to dig deep and to continue, I think you'll find you're always going to be in a position where you're, in this example, Kendo or Iaido or whatever, it's going to continue to develop, it's going to continue to grow. And people who see what you do, people will come. And you have to weather the storm. And things will come back around to you. You have good times and bad times in martial arts, and this is one of the tough times for our martial art. But yeah, I'm sure things will come back around. Things will change for certain people. It may not be the same faces who stick around. New faces will come, especially as things ease off for COVID and that sort of thing. I'm sure it will come around. But yeah, it's not easy. And but we're not here because it's easy. You know, we don't do these things, we don't train in these arts because it's easy or convenient. That's not the reason why we're here. And there's people who, I think, turn up to train in something like Kendo that maybe don't have a conception of that, and they don't really stick around beyond the first few sessions because they realize this is actually going to be quite hard work. And you know, the benefit that you're going to reap from it lies in the actual process of doing it. It's not that you come and you do the process and then you're like, oh, I'm a changed man. Look at the new me. It solved all my problems. That isn't going to happen. It's a constant, everyday set of challenges to, you know, get to the dojo, to get through the training, to get through the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next bit of suburi, and the next kakari keiko, and the next hard keiko with your sensei, and it's falling down, it's getting back up, it's all of that stuff again and again and again at a harder and harder level, because that's life. As you get older, more challenges get thrown at you, and you get battered around more. What are you going to do about it? You're just going to lay down and die, or rise to the challenge? Anyway, that's where I'm going to park it. I'm going to go off and make use of my training time. Hopefully, I'll see you all again very soon. And as I said, once we get this baby out and get through the survival mode, and you know, make sure that you know, we have a happy and healthy mum and happy and healthy baby, then I'm sure I'll be able to get back around and make some more videos, and hopefully come back and do some more Kendo with some of my mates, and hopefully get to some Shiai maybe towards the end of the year if I'm lucky. Right, until then, take care. Bye-bye. I had completely forgotten how long it takes to mop this entire floor all by my lonesome. Yeah, maybe won't be doing that sort of solo practice for a while again. Yeah, probably going to be in trouble with the missus. Anyway, see you later.